Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Dr. Mast's Retro Elixir, where we talk about the past, try to relate it to today, and hopefully we'll learn something along the way. Today we're going to talk about this comic, Your Vote is Vital, published in 1952 by Harvey Comics. This was something that was created for the government as a handout to potential voters. So, if you're not familiar with Harvey Comics, they were founded in 1941. Um, and they started out as a licensing company, doing Dick Tracy and the Green Hornet and comics, or properties like that. They were one of the early companies that did that. Then they went on to do some more kid friendly things like Casper the Friendly Ghost, and eventually they moved into their own properties like Little Dot and Richie Rich and Hot Stuff and characters like that. So, um, mostly known for their kid friendly comics, but they did do some other things as well, especially early on. So let's get into this. It's how to vote, how to register, how to pick a candidate, and a voters quiz, which we'll check out too at the end. Um, and I'm just going to briefly kind of go through it and just do a little overview, and we'll talk about it. But first, we have this guy here who's like, what's the point of voting? It's a waste of time. He just throws his vote away. And Uncle Sam pops up and he's like, hey, you need to vote. In a dictatorship, the government runs the people. But in America, the people run the government. And he's just says, hey, what's the point? I'm just one in millions. And he explains how, it's supposed to work. And and he says, don't sell those single votes short. If enough of them get together the way 24 million did in 1948, they can elect a president. So if they had enough votes, why do they need me? And so he runs through this: votes for the winner 24 million, votes for the runner-up 22 million, votes for others 3 million. He's like, boom, yeah, look at all those people that voted. And then he's like, look, how many didn't vote? Lazy voters 45 million. Total eligible voters 94 million. So look at the difference in that. Um, it looks almost like the president was, in this case, was elected by the minority of eligible voters. I actually went back and looked at the 2016 um, election, um, which was Barack Obama versus Mitt Romney, and Obama got about 69 million votes. Romney got about 60 million votes. But there still was about the same amount of people that didn't vote. So it's still a huge problem. He moves on and he's talking about, hey, if you're going to vote, you need to know, you want to know what these guys are going to do. How do they feel about foreign policy and taxes and things like that, prices. Um, they're saying that basically a minority, it's like special interests can get together and kind of push the vote, and everybody else is just like, whatever, I don't need to vote. Um, so you end up with minority rule, which can lead to graft, corruption, and even dictatorship and communism. Um, and that's why the citizen who doesn't vote, who doesn't protect his share of freedom, is a traitor to democracy. So he keeps talking. He's talking, hey, what about other countries? Blah, blah, blah. They say they get 99% of the vote. He's like, this is how they vote in Russia. And then, this might be a little over the top, but it's basically, the way it was. Um, hey, you want to vote? Go right here. If you're going to vote for our party. If you're not, we'll take you in the back and beat the snot out of you and, find out why you're not voting the right way. So, that's how that was. Um, and one of the things is, we have the secret ballot, so people can't intimidate you to vote a certain way. At least that's what it's designed for. So he's like convinces him, he's like, you know what, you're right. I'll never throw my vote away. I'm gonna go vote right now. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. You don't even know the candidates. Sure I do. They're all written here, but you don't know what they stand for. So he realizes, hey, you need to know something too. What are the issues? How do these candidates stand up on them? What's their past records? What does your opponent say? What their opponent say about them? There's a lot of research to be done. So he's like, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, well, you can watch it on TV, you can read it in the newspaper, which, I guess would be kind of online now. You can go to political rallies. You can talk to your friends. There's ways to get information. Now, he's like, well, who has time for that? And he says, well, how much do you spend shopping for your TV set or your auto? It's like, just go in and pick something off the shelf and say, I'm done. If it's something expensive, you're going to take the time. So he's like, why not take the time to be a good citizen and learn how to vote? So he takes off. I'm going to go get informed. Boom, boom. So we go to this woman here, and she's like, pardon me, young lady, you don't look very happy. I'm not. They won't let me vote. That sounds serious. Why won't they? They said I should have registered last month. That's right. Every citizen has to be registered before election time or he can't vote. Now they tell me. He says each state has different registration time requirements. Check your local election headquarters, which obviously is still true. It's the first time I've been old enough to vote. How was I supposed to know about registering? And he's just like, yeah, that's silly. There's ways to find out basically, and people that make that kind of excuse is just being a little dishonest. Registering is proving that you have a right to vote. How old are you? How long have you lived in this district? Are you an American citizen? If you're a first-time voter, bring your birth certificate or naturalization papers to prove you're a citizen. So they have to prove that they were a citizen. If your state has an educational requirement, you will take a reading and writing test or bring along a school diploma. So back then, you actually had to prove that you could read and write before you could actually vote. And then you do all that, and then you can, register to vote. She's like, well, I'll do that next time. So this guy's back, and he's like, hey, I'm ready to vote. He looked into the issues. Honestly, that was a pretty fast turnaround, but I guess this is comic time, so. But he's like, hey, I don't. There's one guy I'm not really sure about, and he's like, well, next time you can, if you're registered with a party, you can vote in the primaries. And he goes on to explain what the primaries are and how they have multiple candidates running, and eventually somebody gets the nomination. So you get a choice of what candidate's going to run. And we talk about all the different parties. I'm not sure what some of these are here, but these are, obviously we have Democrat, Republican, we have Independent, we have all different parties, Libertarian, the Green Party. So anyway, you vote in the primaries, then you'll have a better shot at getting somebody you like. So they're talking about a printed ballot here and voting. And anyway, he goes on, he votes, and hallelujah, he's done his part for the country. So if you can't vote if you're not registered. Pick the best candidate to vote in every election, and your vote is vital. And I think one thing that's kind of overlooked is vote in every election. It just seems like the big, hip election seems to be for president, and people kind of forget about the other elections. And I think a lot of things have been going on recently. We realized that a lot of these local politicians, specifically governors, and sheriffs and everything, we know how much impact that they can have on our lives. So here we are at the voters quiz. You can take this at home if you want, but what's the last election did you vote in the last election, and what did you vote for? Do you intend to vote? Have you a friend who's eligible to vote? Are you getting them to vote? I think that's another important thing is, um, make sure, if you're voting and you're cool, talk to your family, talk to your friends, get them to vote too. Can you name your senators? I bet you there's a lot of people that can't. Can you name a representative? Do you understand the congressmen stand on price control, which was kind of a big thing back then, but you can just substitute any issue there. What do they, how do they feel on foreign aid, or actually I think they do talk about foreign aid right here. Or how do they feel about whatever, school choice, or how do they feel about taxes and things like that. So the other thing is make sure you're informed. Figure out when you can, last day to register. So that's all I have for that one. I find it very interesting, and how a lot of the things are still similar to today, and how we still have people that aren't voting. A big majority, not a majority, but a huge percentage of people that aren't voting, and I think that's a problem. Um, anyway, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. That'd be great, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.